Unity matters.
Hello, my name is Arnie Herz, and welcome to Habits of a Whole Heart as part of the Humanity Matters series on hmTv. I'm here today with a very old friend, Joy D'Andrea. Not only a friend, but someone who I turned to for healing many years ago when I found out I would need open heart surgery. Joy helped me understand healing in a different way, and we have worked together over many, many years and have maintained a friendship. Joy is one of the most interesting and wonderful human beings, and I'm very, very happy to have her here today for our podcast. So Joy, welcome to Habits of a Whole Heart. And I know a big part of your work is this belief in this concept called unity and unity in healing. And as you know, this podcast is called Habits of a Whole Heart. I focus on this concept called wholeness. So first I want to hear a little bit, what is unity and what do you understand that to mean, and wholeness as well?
Yeah. Well, first, Arnie, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. And of course, I have great fondness for you and the many, many years that we worked together, as well as the friendship that we've built over those years. So thank you. Unity I see as a basic human need and longing. For all of us, we come into the world from this place of unity with spirit or God or the collective unconscious. And I think from the time we're born, we're looking to keep that sense of wholeness or unity, as I call it. And in the process of developing and growing up and integrating, socializing, we start to see things in terms of duality. Me versus you, yes versus no, right versus wrong. And it starts to create these splits in our own systems. And yet there's another part of us that's always seeking this unity, this place where we feel complete, this place where you're no different than I am. And yet our psychology is in complete contradiction to that sometimes. So I see healing, all different modalities of healing, as well as many spiritual organizations, spiritual and religious. At the core of all of these, I see this seeking for unity, for coming back.
So, Joy, thank you very much. You're doing very well. This is Joy's very first podcast, so I'm super happy. And I know you've traveled all around the world, particularly in Japan, where you've done a tremendous amount of work. And
living in Italy.
And living in Italy, of course. And being able to maintain your unity, as you said, dealing with some of the Italian bureaucracy, which is an interesting thing. But, we're born and I'm me, you're you. We live in a multifaceted world. So what do you mean by unity in that? Clearly, you're not saying we're the same. In what way are we the same, and in what way are we different? And what is the deeper unity we're trying to get to?
So touching on psychology a little bit, the process of individuation, when we start to develop as children, there has to be, to develop a healthy ego, we have to have a sense of me versus you. That's healthy. And yet, what comes along with that very often is what our environment is like, what our culture is like, what our gender predisposes us to. And we start to see these fissures or these breaks. And we start to feel conflicted about things. Oh my gosh, you are different than me. But if I really connect to me, am I going to lose you? Am I going to lose your love? And that starts another process of pressure, I'd say, in the system. So duality I see as anywhere where we've had to see things in a split way, or even split ourselves in order to conform or to acclimate or to socialize into our world. And I see healing as really beginning with me, right? Beginning with me. Where do I judge things? Where do I feel conflicted about things? Where do I get angry about things? And where are there patterns that bring me pain? This is all based on duality. And yet I can't control the world. I can't change anybody out there. That's not my job. But yet I can start to bring conscious awareness to my relationship to all of that. And why is it so personal to me? What might I need to look at in myself that can bring back that sense of unity?
And when someone experiences a sense of unity, what does that feel like?
Mm-hmm. It's a great question because it's so difficult to describe in words, right? Because it's not a intellectual concept. I would say it's a full, multidimensional feeling of pleasure in the physical body, where one doesn't feel any sense of separation or judgment or an urgency, desperation to change or to manipulate anything on the outside.
That's beautiful. So,
have you experienced that feeling, Arnie?
I have experienced it, and thanks to the work that we've done together. And you go into a session and you're upset about something. For example, right now I am upset about the rise of antisemitism, and it's real. It's real. There's a lot of tremendous lies that are being perpetrated. And those lies take a life of their own. They're spreading like wildfire through social media. It's being amplified by leaders in certain countries. And it just becomes a lie becomes just a fact. It is. Just like the Jews poisoned the wells, the belief system. And we start seeing a demonization in the Jewish world. And of course, we see it in other arenas too. So now that causes me to feel anxiety, fear. And I think you would say that that is a form of separation. I'm not feeling a sense of pleasure. I'm feeling a sense of discomfort where it's hard for me to breathe easy.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And it's deeper than that because not only is there anti-Semitism growing right now in this country and in the world, but you look at how does that affect you differently than me because your faith is Jewish. How does that affect you differently than me because of your heritage and your lineage and the trauma that your people, those people that had that same belief system, the persecution, the deaths, the trauma. So it's going to impact your system on the many different levels, on a cellular level as well.
So when you talk about impacting the system, that's the sense of heightened anxiety and stress that you feel in your system.
Right. So if you were here with me in a session, I would say to you, Arnie, what happens when you just slow down and bring more awareness to that anxiety, to that sense of agitation in your body?
First of all, this was not planned.
I know.
And it, as we said, we'll allow this to flow, but I think this is very profound because there are so many people suffering from this anxiety. And whether you're watching this because you're concerned about anti-Semitism or you're watching because you're concerned about how migrants are being treated right now, or you're upset with what's happening in Sudan or in many, many parts of the world, this sense, so you see it's outside, right? So
it's happening outside, whether it's anti-Semitism, whether it's Sudan, whether it is the migrant situation, whether it's the misogyny that we're dealing with in this country. This one is good, one is bad, we are better, you're worse. It creates a sense of anxiety in our system.
So now you have this sense of anxiety. So you asked me the question of, what does it feel?
What does it feel like if you slow it down and just bring your awareness to that? What do you notice?
Well, I think the first thing that I notice, take a few breaths. Mm-hmm. The breathing starts shifting.
Yes.
And the first thing that hits me is it's almost more painful.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You become aware of like this wall, this tsunami, and it feels overwhelming to just face that.
Right. So a few words about anxiety, right? This is fear. This is fear of what might happen. Our breathing starts to speed up. Our heart rate starts to go up. Our blood pressure starts to escalate a little bit. We don't want to be with this because there's something uncomfortable about it, something perhaps frightening about it, right? So we want to get away from it. That's the way we're wired as human beings, all of us. So this work intentionally says, no, I'm not going to follow that, let me get away from this. There's a conscious intention to connect to it, and we do that by slowing down. And you're right, it intensifies, right? If there's fear there, you're going to start to feel an intensification of that. But that's the only way we can get more information and move through it, rather than avoid it, get away from it, suppress it, or act out on it. You know, you hate me, I'll hate you, right? Some of the strategies humans have. We want to find another way to connect with this.
And I also think from, as you said, the blood pressure goes up, the pulse goes up.
Right.
You have a lot of thoughts of concern. And what ends up happening is you could get stuck in that.
Most people
It's
do.
not even before you act out on somebody else, just internally you're acting out within yourself and creating so much stress.
Right.
And allowing the stress to fester and develop. And what I think you're saying here is that a lot of that stress is not helping solve the problem.
No, because what happens is you're going into a conflict, right? This is uncomfortable. I want to get away from this. So what do we do with that? We want to blame somebody, or we want to blame ourselves. We want to act out in some way. Or we want to just get away from it totally. None of those are strategies that help bring us to unity, which is really the only place we can act in a grounded, clear way towards taking care of ourselves and then actually being in the world in a different way. Most of us want the world to change, so we'll be okay, right? Doesn't work.
I think about Nelson Mandela, who I've talked about a lot in the movie Invictus, where he talks about how he became the captain of his own soul, how he couldn't change anything on the outside, but what he was able to change was on the inside. Certainly the work of Gandhi was similar. And so much of what you're teaching here and helping people is that when we see the problem outside, we lose power. And we become disempowered because we are subject to that outside power.
We become victimized by it.
Victimized, correct. And as a result, we don't feel whole, we don't feel safe, and we don't feel empowered. By slowing it down and taking charge of our emotional experience, we're actually able to move from that place of anxiety to a place of peace and wholeness. And so from that place of peace and wholeness.
Okay, you're skipping a step here, which is important.
Okay, great.
So the first step is slowing down and being connected to this, right? You start to, as you said, your breath slows down, you have more awareness, you may feel more of an intensity or intensification of the feelings. But then there's a place in us that we have to take care of, right? There's something we need here. So say the sensation is fear. Like underneath the anxiety, the sensation of anxiety, there's the feeling of fear. So what do we need? It's a really important question. Before we can bring ourselves back to unity, we have to know what the need is that will help us to feel safe here. Because we can't change out there, right? That's not going to be safe. It has to be safe here. And that's where we use what I call our internal resources. How do you keep yourself safe? When you start to feel anxious or agitated or that things are spinning out of control in some way, right? What tools do you have within you to keep you safe? It's different for all of us, but what for you would you say helps you to bring back to that place like, okay, I'm safe enough right here. All this is going on out there. It frightens me, but yet I know I keep myself safe because these are the internal resources I have.
I just want to say before I answer that, which is really profound, is that this is the process
Yes.
to bringing the power from the outside into the inside to be able to feel whole.
Exactly.
And, some of the resources for me is to look back on my life and to remember how everything has worked out. Even though I've gone through some major challenges and some painful, very painful times, physically and emotionally, I am here today.
Okay.
And just trusting that things, I truly believe that God has a plan and that things are evolving in a way, and things that are unpleasant or painful is for my opportunity for growth and for healing, however odd that may seem.
So you mentioned a number of internal resources, okay? One is your experience. Your experience as a human being and all of the trials and tribulations and, painful, some of them, but you've gathered experience over your life. You draw on that. Another is your strong connection to God and the trust that things unfold for a larger purpose. Very powerful internal resource if you have that connection with whatever your faith is. Another is your fine mind, Arnie, your brain, your intelligence. That serves you in your life. So just to break down, for anyone that doesn't know what an internal resource is, what you're drawing from within yourself to be like, again, I empower me so I can be with this differently.
So I'll say in terms of intelligence, we all have intelligence, but a lot of people have allowed themselves to be brainwashed and they're not really doing a reality check. And so you could see how important that is. Like, okay, so is this likely going to happen? This because something could happen, right? You get on an airplane and when you have a tremendous fear of flying, which some people do, they're thinking about it's possible the plane crashes. So there's that thinking because it's possible. But the likelihood of that happening is very, very remote. So if you're able to use your mind to really think about, is this really something?
And discern.
Discern is a big word of yours,
It's a
I
big
know.
word of mine.
I like that. And the other thing too is I'm thinking is, just closing your eyes and being quiet and just finding an inner place of stillness. This comes out of my meditation practice. And I know a lot of your healing is giving people the physical, emotional stillness that's within inside.
Right. Slowing down, right? It's counterintuitive. We look to speed up, figure things out, manage things, control things, right? It's counterintuitive. It's a training. First skill I teach anyone that I work with, individually or in a group. Have to slow down. We have to connect inside. All the answers are in there.
So now let's take this to the next step.
Okay.
Right? So antisemitism is raging and there's anxiety, there's fear. So now you become aware of it. You start calming down, you start breathing, you start realizing this moment I'm okay, take away any kind of panicky feeling. And then for me, when I go into that inner quiet place, I'm just breathing, being still, there is a sense of wholeness, you would call unity, of just ease, where you feel aligned. You're not, it's the opposite of escape.
Right.
It's going deep within to find this inner stillness. And from this place, you feel, I could breathe.
Right.
Everything is okay in this moment. I'm okay in this moment. And your system relaxes. And what I find is a greater clarity comes up of what needs to happen next. First of all, if I'm in a dispute with someone, dispute sort of melts away.
Yeah.
And then there's just a sense of connection and care.
And you're right. It's different for everyone, because everyone, their purpose here, their work here looks different. It's as simple as, oh my gosh, I feel that calm and that sense of unity in myself. I see the world differently when that happens. My connection to people, my ability to connect to people, even if I don't agree with them, is different because I'm different meeting them. And whether it's just very simple, the people you meet that day, there's a sense of presence that has an impact on them, or you get in front of a room with 1,000 people in it and you bring that energy to the room. I really do believe this is the only way we can evolve and move forward.
So what you're really saying is that what's essential for us to bring, right? The job is twofold. One is to go within and experience and cultivate unity within. This sense of wholeness within oneself. That is the first task.
Right.
Like whatever's going on the outside, I have to go and connect with my unity. Once you connect with your unity, with your sense of wholeness, now you living in that, you're able to interact with other people, whatever situation's out there, and bring that energy, or what some would say light, holiness, into the world. And that's what is transformative.
Right, right. Now, these are simple concepts. They're simple tools. In practice, man, it's challenging, especially in the environment we're in right now. It's not easy. It's not easy.
Why do you think it's so challenging?
I think because there is so much energy around divisiveness right now. It seems to be accelerating. What I do believe is underneath that, everybody is looking for some sense of wholeness, some sense of unity and peace. But I think there's so much distortion right now. And I can't speak to what that is, except that I do know that whenever it's time for us to evolve, things get chaotic and things get conflicted. And it's the first time in my life that things have felt this intensified. So it's challenging to see, how do we move through this? Because it's actively happening. I think what's important is we don't check out, that we stay working with connecting to ourselves and being open to being in relationship.
Right.
Even when we don't agree, even when we hate what's happening, even when we're angry. Important piece with this self-unity and why self is important. Self-unity is so important as a first step. When we judge, when we project, when we hate, those are out picturings of what's going on in here. If I judge someone, why am I judging them? Why would I judge them? What's happening in me that has that energy come up in me? I bring it back to me. There's something in me that is not in unity. Once I work with that, I see the outside very differently.
Now, what's the difference between judging and seeing someone's behavior that's not good behavior, like that's challenging?
Another great question, because you can see somebody's behavior and be horrified by it, scared by it, angry about it. I could have all those feelings. I don't have to project it and judge it.
So let's delve into this a little bit more.
Sure.
We're done with, believe it or not, the first episode. You've done a great job with your first episode. And so now we're really getting to the heart of it, and we'll go to episode number 2 in a few minutes after we take a little break.
Okay.
So Joy, thank you so much for being on Habits of a Whole Heart, sharing your wisdom and your energy and some incredible tools that are very, very valuable. And we're going to delve more into it. So I encourage everyone to stay tuned for the next episode with Joy DeAndrea. And this is Habits of a Whole Heart on hmTV as part of the Humanity Matters series. So thank you very much. And we will be back with you very shortly.